Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Coffee at Rosevine Cottage. Would you take a moment and share this video with your friends, grab a cup of coffee, and let's dive in. Deserts of pain and regret and loss, often this is where we find ourselves in a wrestling match with God. Desperate to understand, afraid to keep walking. This is the place we must decide whether or not to continue living behind a wall or step out into our calling. We can't remain in our calling and still be barricaded in the comfort of our fortress. So we can't feel the pain when it comes, or endure the storms when they rise. Here is where we must wrestle over the gates. We must hold them fast or throw them wide and step into where we belong. Our biggest discomfort, that is where our calling and the world's need is going to meet. It's scary. It's uncomfortable to leave the familiar and follow God's call. It's risky. It can be painful. It requires us coming face to face with the things that we want to hide and letting the world see it and then pointing to God. This is the place that makes us come face to face with the scars and the things that have held us in bondage. It requires us to sacrifice everything that is keeping us from God's call, to lay down anything that drives a wedge between Him and us, everything that keeps us sitting on the bench, satisfied with the familiar and sitting them at the foot of the cross. Because you know what? Someone is waiting for you to obey and step into your calling because they need what you have. They need you. But we spend so much time wrestling with God, saying, I'm not good enough. I'm scared. I can't do that. He didn't ask if you were qualified. He asked for you. What is holding you in bondage? Is it words that someone spoke over you, words that declared you worthless or insignificant? Is it something you don't like about yourself, the way you look, the way you sound? Have these things become shackles keeping you in your fortress? Or maybe it's the fear of messing up, of looking like a fool, or worse yet, making Him look bad. Is it that you don't feel qualified? Maybe you tried and it didn't go the way you hoped, and now you're afraid to try again. And so you find yourself pitching your tent in the wasteland, content to let others, content to live out of the broken place, shackled by fear and regret and wrestling with God. I'm not good enough. Who am I? What qualifies me? What gives me the right? I don't have the words. I don't know what to say. God, I don't speak well. Why would they listen to me? God, have you seen me lately? I don't even have a slingshot and some stones. Why would I be good enough? I'm nobody. It all kind of boils down to I'm not significant enough for you to use. I'm not good enough. The Bible is literally stuffed full of people who weren't good enough, but He used them anyway. To follow God, to step into our calling, requires we step out of all of what is familiar and comfortable. Where He wants to take you, the boat doesn't go. So you have to get out and leave everything that is holding you back in the boat. God doesn't call us to be comfortable. He calls us out onto the water, into the wastelands, into the risky, hard places so that we can grow. So that we have no choice but to abandon the boat and abandon others' expectations. It's here that we throw away the weight of what others will say, what others will think. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you aren't following them. We've got to walk through the wasteland so some of the things we've allowed to grow and take root in our lives will wither beneath the heat. We can let fear shackle us to the familiar like a ball and chain, keeping us from our purpose. We can stay in a place we've gotten so used to, or we can let Him break through those chains and let them fall away. You hold the key. Your God is a chain breaker, and He is ready and willing to break those chains. Stop wrestling with God and let Him break through them. You do not have to stay in the dry season. We can choose to serve comfort or to serve our King. We can take everything that we have claimed as truth about us. We can take every reason that we hold up as an explanation as why He can't use us, and we can nail those things to the cross. Those things are not who you are. Those things are what is keeping you from the person you're meant to be. Perhaps This is the most beautiful offering we can give. Stripping away the things that we have claimed, the things that have prevented us from flinging ourselves into his waiting arms and nailing them to Calvary. No name that has been spoken over you has any power because his name is bigger. No issue, no impediment, no fear can overshadow what he is going to do through you. God, I'm not good enough, but you are glorified through my weakness, so I'm coming. I'm following anyway. I don't want to sit in the boat when you are out on the water. I don't want to serve comfort when you're calling me to the wasteland. I don't want to live behind the walls I've built. I don't want to live in fear anymore. I want you. God doesn't call the equipped. He doesn't bring the qualified. He provides for the ones he calls. If we are equipped for our purpose, then we wouldn't need him. We could do it in our own power. Your authority doesn't come from you. It comes from the one you're with. If God can use a donkey, what makes you think he can't use you? Donkeys aren't even supposed to talk. If God can use a rock for Jacob and a bush for Moses, what makes you so unusable? When we first started doing coffee at Rosevine Cottage, I literally wanted to swallow my tongue. I hate talking. Seriously, if you can get me to answer the phone, it's a miracle. I don't like being in the spotlight, so doing videos is so far outside my comfort zone. The whole month leading up to our first episode, I wrestled with God over them. I didn't want to do it. Blogging was my comfort zone. I can sit behind the safety of my laptop with my coffee and my red lipstick and write to my heart's content. But doing videos requires you to step into the focal point. You're no longer just a faceless person behind the screen, and it's scary. It means coming face to face with things I don't like about myself, facing my insecurities and my weaknesses. But you know what? Even if one person is impacted by any of it, all of the discomfort, the pain, that I don't want to do this is worth it. But even if no one sees it, it's still worth it because in the end, we didn't do it for them. We did it for him. Are you ready to abandon your comfort and risk it? Ready to take that word, that issue, that reason you can't and nail it to the cross? He doesn't call you what the world calls you because he's already seen the end of your story. He already knows the impact of your calling. Stop wrestling with God and step out confidently. He didn't call someone else to this place because he called you. Which means he will see you through. He will provide the way. He will be enough. He was enough in every storm. He will be enough now. He brought you through every wasteland, every dry season, every stormy sea. He's poured you out and filled you back up. He's washed away every name that tried to claim you. He's overrun everything that tried to keep you from him for a reason. Someone somewhere needs you. They need what you've learned on this journey, what he's taught you, and they're waiting for you. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you'll like and share this video, we really hope it blessed you. Have a great Monday, and we'll see you again next week.